What did you think Ring of Honor would be like before it started, and what do you think of it now?
I really didn't know when I went to Ring of Honor. I didn't really know what was going to happen with it. I had no expectations. I went in there just hoping to have a good match. And now it's become sort of a thing where guys always try and put their best foot forward in Ring of Honor. Like this is a lot of the guys' main shows every month. These are the shows that the guys, they work on stuff so that when they come to Ring of Honor, that stuff that they've been working on will be good. And so it's built up quite a fan following now. They're fun shows to do. They're fun. It's a fun locker room. Everybody gets along, and so now, like, I still really don't have images of companies. I don't know why I don't. I don't really even have an image of the WWF in my head. But I look at shows as either just on how much fun I have doing them, and I have a lot of fun doing the Ring of Honor shows.
Is there any companies you work for where you said, I'm never coming back here?
I'm trying to think. I don't think so. The hardest company for me to work for was actually Jersey All Pro. Not because the people in Jersey All Pro aren't nice people, but because their fans are so bloodthirsty. Like, it's funny because there's kids in it, and then there's people who like just want to see blood. And I was, and you're sitting there watching it. I like to watch the matches at the shows and everything. And so I was about to wrestle and everything, and I was watching the matches, and I start hearing people saying "wall, wall, 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 wall," and what was that guy's name? I forget it. I met him a couple times in Ring of Honor. The guy who hurt his
Got
neck.
hurt from Boogie Nights.
Yes. Yeah, he got hurt getting thrown into the wall. And I was like, man, that's an insane thing to do, the whole wall thing. And then, he lands, almost head first on the floor. Well, and then, I was at the next show I was at with them. The fans are chanting wall again, and that guy got sent to the hospital, and so I don't know how much the fans there actually respect the wrestlers, and which is the hardest thing to do is wrestle in front of people who expect for their $10 for you to kill yourself. And so that's probably the hardest shows that I've had to work.
Considering the three-way dance isn't one of your favorite matches, were you surprised at the rave reaction you guys got from the three-way dance with you, Low-Key, and Chris Daniels on the first show?
I wasn't surprised about it because Christopher Daniels and Low-Key have done so many of them. Like, I've only done a couple three-way dances, and for me to do them, it's hard because I like doing a lot of basic stuff, just like basic stuff. I like to do some mat wrestling and stuff like that, and that's hard in a three-way match. And so most of the ideas that came throughout there were put out there by Daniels and Low-Key, and so I just kind of did what I felt I needed to do. When I was in there, I didn't have a lot of the creative stuff to do. And so I'm not surprised because they've done so many of them, and they're so good at it, and they're so creative with that kind of stuff that it wasn't a hard match to do at all.
Were you surprised that your match was the main event instead of Eddie Guerrero and Super Crazy?
Yes. I was actually terrified because I thought, how are we going to go out there and follow Eddie Guerrero and Super Crazy? But the fans were just super cool. They I don't know, they didn't act surprised that we were the main event, and so it was really neat because Eddie Guerrero and Super Crazy are so professional because a lot of guys in that situation, a lot of indie guys, if they're in the semi-main event, they're going to go out there and do every move that they know, and so, but Eddie Guerrero and Super Crazy, they went out there and they worked hard, they did their stuff, but they didn't kill anything. They didn't kill any finishes, they didn't kill any that kind of stuff. So when we went out there to do, the main event or whatever, and kick out of some big moves and stuff, the fans were there for it. And that was so professional of them, and that's what separates guys like Eddie Guerrero and Super Crazy from other people, is that they're not going out there to be the main event even when they're not the main event. They're going out there to be the best match that they can do with their spot on the card. They're doing what's best for the show itself. So
we talked about your match with Loki already. One thing we didn't talk about was Ken Shamrock was the ref in that match. Did he have anything to do you guys after the match? Any advice?
No, he said he gave us the old "just keep on doing what you're doing and you'll do well" speech. But no, he was really cool to work with. He asked us, is there anything that I did that you guys didn't like? We're like, no, you were perfect. It's one of those things where it's just kind of neat. It's just a neat little added flavor to a match, and I've really been fortunate with that kind of stuff because having Steamboat ref a match and then having him ref a match and then being able to wrestle in front of guys like the Destroyer and stuff at the King of Indies matches and everything. I've been really lucky with that sort of thing.
What was the deal with Spanky's ripped pants when you worked him in Ring of Honor?
I don't know, but he's always getting stuff for really, really cheap. Like his gear, it's hilarious. And our first match in Texas, his pants ripped. And it was funny because I had more sense then because I ripped him off, I think. And in that match, I should have done it, but I didn't know what kind of, underwear he was wearing and whatnot. And so it's just because he buys new gear for almost every show. And he goes to like the Salvation Army or whatever to get the goofiest thing he can get. And sometimes they're quality stuff, sometimes it's not. So sometimes they rip. But
how's Spanky changed from when you first started working until now?
He used to be all about doing fancy stuff. Like you see a lot of the guys now who do a lot of the super duper high flying amazing stuff. He used to want to learn all that kind of stuff. Now he's more into entertaining people, like doing things that make sense. Because that's now, in my opinion, that's how you stand out. Because everybody can do all these amazing spots. Like everybody has come up with creative head drop finishes and all these nifty things that they can do. But Spanky's become a thinking wrestler more than anything else. Like what he does it well, and he makes it make sense, and he makes it entertaining. He puts his character out there, and his character wrestles, as opposed to just some guy going out there and wrestling and doing cool moves. And so that's what separates him from everybody else, and that's what separates him now from what he was before.
Are you surprised WWE's interested in him now?
Not at all, because he's an entertainer. Like that's his thing. He's very entertaining. He's a very good wrestler. But the thing now with like SmackDown and stuff, the cruiserweights, they're not the best wrestling on the show. That's how they got. That's from watching. I wasn't backstage, but that seems how they became really popular in WCW was that they were the best match on the show every time. Well, on SmackDown with Chris Benoit and Kurt Angle and stuff, a lot of times they're not the best match on the show. So for them to be popular, they've got to have something else. And so Spanky's very good, but I don't think he thinks he's as good as Benoit or Angle or anybody like that. But what he can do very well is promos. For how little promo experience he has, he does really well, and he is very creative with his ideas, and he has a good sense of what's funny and what's not funny. Like I'm not funny at all. I'm a dork. If you asked me to come up with a funny promo, I'd be lost. But Spanky, if you ask him to come up with a funny promo, he would take something that you would think would be the stupidest thing in the world and make it hilarious. And so that's what I think the WWF sees in him more than anything else.
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.